Hello there, and welcome to this explainer. Today we are going to be decoding a bit of a medical mystery together, and I am so glad you've joined us. Our bodies have this absolutely brilliant yet very quiet way of communicating with us. It's really a built-in warning system. And the secret to maintaining our health, keeping our precious energy, and most importantly, protecting our independence as we get older is simply learning how to listen to it. Today, we're going to be looking at some absolutely crucial insights from Dr. Marcus Okoro. He is a seasoned heart surgeon who has spent over 20 years observing exactly what happens when small, quiet problems get missed. We're going to focus our attention on a part of your body that, well, you might not think about very much on a day-to-day basis, your feet. As you'll see, your feet are actually trying to tell you a very detailed story about your health, and today, we're going to learn exactly how to read it, step by step. Let's dive right in with a story from Dr. Okoro. It's about a patient named Walter. Now, Walter is 71 years old. He's a retired plumber, a hardworking man who spent his whole life fixing things. He walked into the doctor's office for a completely regular checkup, and honestly, he was feeling perfectly fine. He had no chest pain, he had decent energy to play with his grandkids, but right at the very end of his appointment, almost as an afterthought, his wife happened to mention that Walter's feet had been feeling just a little bit numb for the past year or so. Walter just laughed it off. He said, it's just age, doc. We're all getting older. But Dr. Okoro, listening closely, decided to run just one extra blood test. Well, the results were absolutely shocking. His fasting glucose was extremely high. Walter had been living with severe, completely undiagnosed diabetes for at least 2 years. He literally had no idea, simply because no one had ever sat him down and taught him what those numb feet were actually trying to whisper to him.
Now, this story gently shifts our entire understanding of what diabetes actually is. We so often hear the word diabetes and we immediately think of it as just a sugar disease. But fundamentally, at its core, it is a vascular disease. And that just means it's a disease of your blood vessels. I want you to think of your blood vessels as the intricate, amazing plumbing system of your entire body. They are responsible for carrying that vital, life-giving flow of fresh oxygen and essential nutrients to every single tissue, every muscle, and every organ you have. When blood sugar stays too high for too long, it directly damages these pipes. It restricts that vital flow. Understanding this one simple fact, that it's really a plumbing issue, changes absolutely everything about how we can look at and protect our health.
So you might be wondering, why on earth did Walter's warning signs start all the way down in his feet? Well, it really comes down to the simple physics of your wonderful body. Your feet are the furthest points from your heart. They are literally the absolute end of the line. Because of this, the blood vessels way down there are the tiniest, the most delicate, and they make up the longest delivery route in your entire body. When there is extra unprocessed sugar floating around in your blood, it acts almost like a very slow-moving acid. And the very first pipes to feel the effects of that slow damage, the very first ones to fail or get clogged up, are those tiny, delicate vessels at the absolute end of the route. Your feet are essentially the canary in the coal mine for your entire blood vessel system.
Okay, let's look at the first group of warning signs, which are all about your nerves. Dr. Okoro breaks down 9 distinct signs across 3 different categories for us. These first few are really just your nerves trying to send you a quiet SOS signal. These include a persistent tingling sensation, a very specific burning feeling that happens mostly at night when you're trying to rest, and sometimes a sharp, sudden, stabbing pain. Now please don't worry if you felt any of these. As we always say, knowledge is power. By simply recognizing these nerve signals for what they are, you are already taking the very most important step in protecting your long-term health and your daily mobility.
Let's take a moment to carefully distinguish between what is just a normal, everyday occurrence and what is actually a clinical warning sign. Sign number 1 is persistent tingling or numbness. Now, almost all of us have sat on the floor playing with the grandkids or sat cross-legged for a bit too long, stood up, and felt those intense, prickly pins and needles. That is completely normal. What you really want to notice is whether this tingling is happening regularly without any clear reason at all. If you are just lying comfortably in bed or sitting at the table drinking your morning coffee and your feet just start tingling on their own schedule, well, that is your body communicating with you. That is what we call a clinical warning sign.
To understand exactly why that unprompted tingling happens, Dr. Okoro gives us a really wonderful, easy-to-understand analogy. I want you to think of the delicate nerves in your feet like the electrical wires in your home, maybe the cord for your favorite reading lamp. A healthy electrical wire has a smooth plastic coating, or insulation, wrapped completely around it. That insulation keeps the electrical signal perfectly clean and headed exactly where it needs to go. Now, imagine peeling or stripping that plastic away. The wire itself is still there, and it still sort of works, but without its protective coating, the electrical signals get scattered, fuzzy, and misdirected. When blood sugar stays too high, it slowly eats away at the protective coating around your nerves. That fuzziness from the stripped wire? That is exactly what that unprompted tingling feeling is down in your feet.
Sign number 2 is a burning sensation in the soles of your feet, and this usually happens especially at night. This one is quite sneaky, actually. During the day, you are busy walking around, doing chores, maybe gardening, so your brain is distracted and it doesn't bother you. But at night, when everything is quiet and you are trying to get a good night's sleep, you start to feel this dull, uncomfortable burn right on the bottoms of your feet. Some folks describe it as feeling like they just walked barefoot across a hot, sun-baked beach. Why does this happen? Well, those damaged nerves we talked about are misfiring. They are actively sending heat signals up to your brain even when nothing warm is actually touching your skin. It is exactly like a fire alarm in a building that has a broken sensor. The building is perfectly safe, there's no fire anywhere, but the alarm is screaming loudly simply because the sensor itself is broken.
So what do we do about this? Let's look at some very practical, comforting solutions. For that tingling caused by the damaged nerve coating, a simple 20-minute daily walk, and I mean just a gentle walk around the neighborhood, not a jog, along with reducing your added sugar today, can work absolute wonders for your body. For that frustrating nighttime burning caused by those misfiring signals, simply drink 8 glasses of plain water a day and add healthy, natural fiber like oatmeal or steamed vegetables to your meals. This gently slows down how fast sugar absorbs into your blood. And for sign number 3, that sharp, stabbing, electric shock-like pain caused by hyperactive nerves, just do 5 minutes of gentle foot stretches right there in your bed before you even stand up in the morning. Just slowly flex your toes, gently circle your ankles. These are such simple, daily actions, but they put the control right back in your hands where it belongs.
Now, our second category of warning signs moves us from those internal nerves to external changes, the actual things visibly written right on the skin of your feet and your lower legs. This category includes small cuts or scrapes that stubbornly refuse to close up, unusual darkening of the skin around your ankles, and deeply cracked heels that no amount of fancy lotion seems to fix. And again, I want to remind you, these are absolutely not things to fear. They are simply helpful road signs pointing us toward better health as long as we keep our eyes open and pay attention to them.
Sign number 4 is cuts in small wounds that just won't seem to heal or close. Normally, a healthy body is amazing at this. It will close up a tiny blister from a tight pair of shoes in about 5 to 7 days. But when blood sugar is consistently high, those tiny blood vessels in your feet become very stiff and painfully narrowed. Think of it like trying to water your beautiful garden with a kinked garden hose. You have the water turned all the way on at the house, but because the hose has a sharp kink in it, the water simply cannot reach the dry soil. In your body, the healing white blood cells, the rich oxygen, and the vital nutrients are all right there, ready to work, but they just can't get through those narrowed, kinked vessels fast enough to actually heal the cut.
And this naturally brings us to sign number 5, discoloration of the skin on your lower legs. Now, this sign truly hides right in plain sight. We all get bruises as we go about our lives. You accidentally bump your leg on the wooden coffee table, and you know exactly why that black and blue mark is there. But what if you step into the shower, glance down, and notice your ankles look noticeably darker, maybe reddish or even slightly brownish blue, and you know for a fact you haven't bumped into anything? Doctors actually call this specific pattern diabetic dermopathy. Because those tiny blood vessels are damaged, the skin tissue just isn't getting fresh oxygen, and over time, it physically changes color. Remarkably, research shows this discoloration can show up an average of 18 full months before a formal diabetes diagnosis. That is,
here is a very clear, wonderfully easy-to-follow action plan for protecting your delicate skin. If you do find a small cut or a blister, just gently clean it with mild soap and warm water. Apply a basic over-the-counter antibiotic ointment and cover it nicely with a bandage. If it isn't getting noticeably better within 48 hours, don't wait, just give your doctor a quick call. Now, regarding sign number 6, those deeply cracked heels, which are actually caused by damaged automatic nerves shutting off your skin's natural moisture pump, the fix is easy. Moisturize your heels thoroughly every single night before bed. Coconut oil or a nice thick lotion works beautifully for this. But here is a crucial rule. Never, ever put that lotion between your toes. Trapped moisture in that tight space creates a perfect environment for fungus to grow, and we certainly want to avoid that.
this brings us to our third and final category of warming signs: circulation and fluid regulation. These physical signs in your lower legs tell us exactly how well the overall plumbing system of your body is working. We're going to look at a persistent, very specific type of swelling, feet that stay uncomfortably cold even in the middle of a hot summer afternoon, and a very silent, incredibly easily missed sign involving the hair on your lower legs. Let's walk through these important signs together.
Sign number 7 is persistent swelling in your feet and your ankles. Now, if you just took a long airplane flight across the country, your ankles might puff up. That is completely normal, and it usually resolves perfectly overnight. But if your swelling is there every single evening, if it leaves deep, tight marks from your socks, and it doesn't go away by morning, let's try a very simple test you can do right in your chair. Take your thumb or your finger, press it firmly into your swollen ankle. Hold it right there for about 5 seconds and let go. If the little indentation or dimple stays there for several seconds before slowly bouncing back, that is what doctors call pitting edema. It is a key indicator that your body's fluid regulation and kidneys might be struggling a bit, and it's absolutely worth bringing up at your next doctor's appointment.
Let's move along to sign number 8, feet that stay perpetually cold. Now, of course, we all get cold feet if we walk barefoot on a chilly winter floor. But if your feet are freezing cold in the middle of July, or you're lying in bed under 3 thick blankets while the rest of your body is perfectly warm and your feet are still like ice, well, that changes the picture completely. This is a very clean, clear sign of narrowed blood vessels, which is often known as peripheral artery disease. Imagine your body's circulation is like a central heating system in a very large, older house. If the pipes running through the walls become narrowed and clogged with mineral buildup over the years, the radiator in that furthest back bedroom is going to stay freezing cold, no matter how hard the furnace down in the basement is working. Your heart is that mighty furnace, but the narrowed pipes simply won't let the warm blood reach the distant ends of your feet.
And now we reach sign number 9. This is what I like to call the silent sign. It is easily the most overlooked sign, sitting right in plain view every single day. The next time you're getting dressed, I want you to look down at the skin on your lower legs, around your shins, and the tops of your feet, and compare it to the hair on your thighs. Is the hair on your lower legs noticeably thinner, or perhaps completely gone, leaving the skin looking unusually shiny and smooth? You see, hair follicles are tiny, but they are very demanding little things. They require a constant, steady, rich supply of fresh blood and oxygen just to keep growing. When circulation to your lower legs is compromised by years of slow vessel damage happening quietly underneath the skin, those hungry little follicles are literally starved, and the hair simply stops growing. It is a brilliant, entirely silent marker of your long-term circulatory health.
So here are the comforting, actionable steps you can take today for these circulation issues. If you notice that persistent, pitting swelling caused by fluid pooling, make it a habit to elevate your feet for about 15 minutes a few times a day. Resting them on a nice soft pillow on the couch helps gravity drain that excess fluid right back toward your heart. Also, try cutting back just a bit on your sodium and salt intake. For those always cold feet caused by narrowed arteries, a brisk 10 to 30-minute daily walk will literally force warm, fresh blood down into your lower legs, which helps strengthen and expand those vessel walls over time. And if you happen to notice that silent lower leg hair loss, the very best action is simply to call your clinic and schedule a routine blood test to check on things.
The timeline of these symptoms we've discussed reveals something very, very hopeful. Your body is actually providing you with generous, years-long advance notice. That burning nerve pain at night, it often begins a full 1 to 3 years before a formal diagnosis is ever made. That skin discoloration on the ankles appears, on average, 18 whole months before. This means that if you are noticing these quiet whispers right now, you have an absolute abundance of time to comfortably and steadily reverse course. You are catching the signals while the body is still just whispering, long before it ever has to shout. So, I want you to remember, today, right now, is absolutely the perfect time to take empowering, positive action for your health.
And here is a number that I think should bring everyone listening a great deal of comfort: $12. If you notice any of these signs we've talked about today, the very best thing you can do is simply ask your doctor for a standard fasting glucose test and a hemoglobin A1C test. This extremely simple blood test costs about $12 at a standard lab, and for the vast majority of older adults, it is completely 100% covered by Medicare. It is accessible, it's easy, and it's almost free. Just $12 in one quick, simple blood draw can beautifully change the entire trajectory of your health, giving you the exact answers you need to protect your energy and your future.
As we slowly wrap up our time together, I want to leave you with a very simple, practical action plan for tonight. First, find a comfortable spot to sit down in your home somewhere with nice, bright lighting. Second, go ahead and take off your socks and shoes. Third, simply take 30 seconds to really look at the top and the bottom of both of your feet. Put your glasses on if you need to. Look at the heels, check between the toes, and run a gentle fingertip along the skin. Finally, if you happen to see or feel any of the warning signs we've discussed today, don't panic. Just pick up the phone tomorrow morning and calmly call your doctor's office. You have worked far too hard in your life to lose your independence and your energy now. Please don't let something so manageable be missed just because nobody ever told you what to look for.
Which leaves us with one final, very important thought. Have you checked your feet today? I'd love for you to make this small 30-second check a normal, comfortable part of your daily routine. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. I genuinely hope you leave this session feeling much more informed, much more in control of your own amazing body, and completely free from worry. Your body is a wonderful, complex machine, and now you have the exact tools you need to listen to it properly. Take wonderful care of yourself, take excellent care of those feet, and I wish you nothing but the absolute best on your continued journey of health, happiness, and wellness.